Deleted session, August 27, 1977. Good evening. A session was a good decision. It would be silly for a violet to wonder why it was not a grape. You have certain natures, then, that you are your own. It is somewhat beside the point to wonder why your natures are as they are. You have always been loners, in reincarnational terms and otherwise. Suggestion, so-called, is little understood. The word perhaps is a poor one, yet to an important extent, your world runs by suggestion. Suggestion is simply an impetus to act in given directions. Your social, political, religious, economic, and medical areas of life are all built upon certain assumed suggestions that people agree to accept as standards of behavior. The word standards is important, for in certain terms, through such obedience, through such compliance, they are given recognizable patterns into which their most personal experience can flow. They are given recognizable patterns through which their experience with others and with the community can flow. They are given certain more or less predictable frameworks in which to experience their lives. Those experiences may at times be quite jarring, tragic, frightening, but they will happen within a framework provided by the accepted suggestions of the society. People may question the precepts, but generally speaking, they live and work within organizational frameworks, each one ruled by various assumptions or suggestions. Students go to schools, patients go to doctors, criminals go to jail. Experience then is largely programmed in that respect, so that you know where you belong. Your experience, no matter how joyful, bizarre, or frightening, can find a category. Few people stray from those frameworks, and few creative people, even of high quality, operate outside of the accepted disciplines, schools, and organizations. Because of your natures, to a far greater extent than most, you and Ruber have strayed in such a fashion. Because of your natures, you are seeking answers to the most difficult problems of life and death alike, on your own, so to speak. This is because your natures require it. You want to do it. At the same time, you provide a new group of suggestions, an alternate way for others. In the meantime, however, you have no cozy categories in which to place your experience. In a way, everything is new. This, of course, requires on your part energy, self-reliance, faith in what you are doing, and a certain stubbornness. At the same time, you are everywhere surrounded by the suggestions of your culture. Those who come here often are questioners of it. They certainly are not ready to go all of the way as you are. They may appear quite bizarre. They may form odd theories, but they are between worlds. There is no doubt that improvements have occurred in Ruber's condition. You will have to be blind not to realize that his ankles and feet, his hands and wrists, his neck and jaw, have all improved. Frank is correct. Many ligaments have stretched to allow him to sit down. I would say 15% better within 2 weeks. You are, however, blazing your own path, and the confidence at times will unfortunately lag. You should not let those periods collect. However, I am helping out here to give you some extra support, and I will tell you that my word in this area is far more dependable than any other information you could receive. Today could have been a day of relaxation and some mild enough triumph. It was not, of course. It was not because Rupert's confidence failed, and so did yours. That Rupert did not communicate because he did not want to worry you, since he knew your confidence was no better than his. What happened is this: the large neck ligaments considerably loosened further, releasing important areas of the jaw, unfortunately enough dislodging a tooth. While unpleasant, that is not a tragedy. That release allowed further relaxation, so that vitally important areas in the arm and in the backs of the legs were further released. This permitted some new rotation of both knees and also loosened some ligaments to the feet. Those areas tried to work together today. The trembling is indeed a sign of new life, new sensation, as large areas of the body try the new positions. Had you both trusted the body, had you believed that it did indeed improve to improve, then Rupert would have been more aware of the new balancing sensations and positions, and would not have added anxiety on top. It is highly important that you do keep up your communications with each other, and that you begin each day in one way or another by stating your faith in the body's processes. This would take but a few moments. It is also important now that you concentrate upon your own creative works, both of you. Rupert particularly, so that he takes his mind off of his body and focuses elsewhere. Since you are doing this alone, more or less, it is natural to be upset at times. But when your confidence is greater than your doubts, Rupert always improves. There is no reason to fear a prolonged period of improvements that go nowhere. Only those fears slow down your success. His body is responding extremely well, despite the mental anxiety that both of you place upon the process. Rupert's condition is in no way reprehensible. Rob noted, repeated twice. They said, there is no reason why you should consider it in such a fashion. There are more people than you know, relying upon the best medical knowledge of the society, who are in far worse shape. Whether or not the condition is observable, millions, incidentally, with false teeth. It does no good to exaggerate Rupert's condition, and if you do not exaggerate it, then you must admit the improvements that have lately occurred. Forget worrying about visitors, one way or another. Dedicate yourself to your joint and private creative pursuits, to providing a mental climate in which you can produce while Rupert's improvements continue. Anything else now is beside the point. If you were different people, you might of course have done other things. You are yourselves. If you accept those selves, you will not waste energy comparing yourselves with others, particularly in negative fashions. Rob noted. Seth held up a bottle of beer. They said, open this for our friend. I will not keep you long, but you need this session. Each morning, briefly together in whatever way you choose. Dedicate yourself to your creative pursuits. Imagine a calm and peaceful aura surrounding the house. Tell yourselves that your work will be productive, and that Rupert's body will improve as the day goes on. Such suggestions are immensely important. Suggestions are always impetuses toward action. Psychological sets that can indeed program your day and set up reminders. Because you do not rely upon mass suggestions and mass frameworks, it is then highly vital that you learn to set up your own alternate patterns. You do this from scratch, where of course most of people have not set themselves such challenges or opportunities for creativity. Because you were born in this culture, it is not surprising that you still fall prey to lack of trust in yourselves, or in the body's abilities to cure itself. Teachings to the contrary have been deeply embedded. You do have something extremely valuable when you realize it, though this is often lost to you in practical terms because of your fears and negative projections. The large majority of people are confused, besieged, and struggling without any clear idea of why they are in such a state, and with barely 100th fraction of your insight or understanding, unable to form their own framework, yet aware that the conventional one is sadly lacking. Your sense of direction may be far more obvious to them than to you, because they sense it so vitally in contrast to their own condition. The suggestions I gave about the morning should be followed. Everything in the session is important, keeping up your communication and so forth. The trembling will not last, at the most 2 or 3 days. It is no cop-out to keep a chair handy, or whatever, nothing to be afraid of when that is understood. The legs will want then to exercise. He can stand up and hold on to something, and exercise then, even if he has had to have chairs about while walking from place to place. The balance of the body is changing. The eyes will continue to improve. Fear, his and yours, makes him concentrate upon the body's sensations too much, and that prevents him from the frame of mind necessary for his writing. His eyes are changing. They are not protruding as much, and they will far less. Nor generally will they be as red. They are still not fully synchronized, however. There are long periods where he can read properly. He can copy Jane's then, an hour at a time, however. In other periods, he can work on his preface and his own two notes for the book, and leave himself open to new inspiration. Dedicate yourselves as I have said. Be honest. If someone comes to the door and you do not want to see them, make a polite excuse. If you feel so inclined, see the person. Make a decision, however, whatever it is, and stick to it in any case. That is, in any given case. You follow me? You will learn that way, and your decisions will be in league with your inclinations at the time. This will naturally even out. You can trust those inclinations. They will be built upon your own inner knowledge and your feelings about your state at the time, and your inner knowledge about people at the door. When you go against those feelings, you cannot be satisfied with any decision. There are issues involved that you are unconsciously aware of, concerning, say, the people. The knowledge will merge with your own conscious feelings at the time. You are tinged by conventional ideas and judgments, natural enough, but they often contradict your intuitive feelings and make you act counter to them. You, Joseph, were initially annoyed by Lady Caroline, who came in the taxi. You felt she intruded. Quickly, however, you felt sorry for her. Conventional attitudes began to speak. You should be kind to guests. The woman had come from so far away. Your original feelings of intrusion, represented your own attitude and your instant recognition of her character. Your original feelings were the correct ones, so to speak. Ruber's were the same. Each of you felt that you should see the woman regardless of your feelings. The woman would have accepted a no. She halfway expected it, as you both unconsciously realized. A yes to her would mean far more than yes to a brief interview. To her, if you saw her at all, it meant that you would accept her as a student, or rather as a cleaner. Ruber was not hiding in that particular instance. The other woman was an entirely different matter, yet you saw her also because you thought you must or should. She benefited by the interview. If you follow your inclinations, you cannot go wrong, for they are acutely tuned to each instance and each person, and take into consideration your own circumstances at the time. When you do not tread your inclinations, then you must indeed make rules to follow instead. It takes but a moment to check with each other. Though so far you usually answer the door, but state your feelings to Ruber clearly, then ask for his, and make your decision jointly. One of you may want to talk to the person involved, or both of you, or neither. There is no strain that should be involved. The affair is taken care of in a few moments. When you do not tread your own feelings, however, and do not have specific rules governing such issues either, then few decisions are clearly made, or are even halfway agreeable. The visitors that you honestly feel like seeing you will also help the most, and there will be something about them that will benefit you, so that the encounter is creative overall. Do you have questions? Rob said, no, I guess not. They said, now, I hope before too long to get on with our book. But I am also highly interested that you put our ideas to work to better your own daily lives. Part of the book will deal with math suggestions and their effects and benefits. If Ruber had gone to a doctor, he would have been a different person after a certain point in his life. So, in a way, it is meaningless to ask what would have happened. Had you insisted that he go to a doctor, you would have been a different person also. Please remember that many people get in physical difficulty. They are indeed the norm rather than the exception. People who are not questioning necessarily the nature of life or of reality. Creative people, unimaginative people, dumb people, athletes, all get in physical difficulties. What I am saying is that questioning the nature of reality does not cause physical difficulties per se. You cannot justifiably say, then had we not taken this route, everything would have been hunky-dory. You should know better than that. Rob noted, I didn't know I had said that. They said, now, had you not taken this route, you both would have been in far greater difficulties. Of course, you would not be the same people, but your understanding and knowledge has drastically changed the future that could have been expected, say, from your backgrounds in this life now. To some extent, the York Beach images held what might have been expected of you. In the terms of which we are speaking now, having attained a certain but quite limited artistic career that you felt was more of a prison that no technique could help you escape. The career would have fallen into conventional pattern for money's sake. Your understanding, stretched somewhat by earlier ideas, would have fallen backward. so that you ever strained against it. You would have had physical difficulties of quite important natures. Reuben would have been stifled, unable to find a writing niche, having written out early personal, autobiographical material, but not able to make the new important creative leaps that were actually taken. He might have died of heart trouble by the age of 40, for literally his heart would have been broken, and the communication between the two of you would have quite fallen away. His heart is as strong as an axe. Rob noted, definitely. They said, do not think then that your creative endeavors have caused your difficulties, or that without them, life would have been a bed of roses. The solution to your problem is within your knowledge, and consciously so, something few people can say. Rob noted, and I would say that Seth's material on Jane and me represents a probable reality for us. That those things did happen elsewhere. They said you are trying out highly creative, innovative, imaginative, and truthful concepts, not just theoretically and artistically, but applying them to your lives. You have again fallen into the habit, negatively, of considering your achievements in other areas as insignificant, in light of Rupert's condition, as if they caused his condition. They did not. His condition was caused by a set of beliefs, and so was everything else in your lives. Luckily, those beliefs allowed the possibility of achievement, even if they did also permit experience most dismaying. But watch the center of your focus. We are setting up an alternate framework. Your focus must be upon your abilities, your achievements, the realities, all of them, of the moment. You both have great powers of concentration and energy. I want those directed toward the issues just mentioned. Reinstate the library together. When you worry all day, then the library goes out the window, and so does your feeling of creative adventure in your own creative hours, both of you. When you feel the sessions do not help, it is of course because you doubt yourselves, and you doubt yourselves because of the very cultural reality you are in the process of changing for yourselves and others. Do you have questions? Ralph said, well, your last line reminded me of my question about the acceptance of unknown reality by others. They said, when you say others, do you mean? Ralph said, generally. They said, the general acceptance. First of all books would frighten many people. They run directly counter to the many beliefs by which the masses live their lives. Our ideas will filter through the masses. Directly, however, in a manner of speaking, our books are subversive. They will sell continually through the years, and the readership will grow. College people in particular will promote our ideas. Many people who seem quite strange or cultish, bizarre, and possibly offend you read the books because they are often acutely aware of society's lacks. They try to show their dissatisfaction through highly individualistic or strange behavior. Since on their own, they are not creatively gifted enough to find other expression. The books also find their way, however, to the serious questioners within the establishment itself. Often they are not in high positions because they are questioners, yet they deal with the young quite directly, and with the arts and the sciences in unconventional ways, but within the system. They are also a core of individual thinkers who straddle all social or academic categories, who follow our books. There is no overall general reaction, therefore, in the terms of your question, but the effects will be and are being felt. Certainly, for example, will reach some people who have not read the other books, and some historians will read James, and hence be led where otherwise they would not go. Psyche will mention my ideas about sex, for example, and will be bought by some people because of that subject alone, who will be again led to the other books. Hopefully, Ruber will finish his other 7, for besides regular readers, he will pick up readers of fiction, who again will be led where otherwise they would not travel. Please reread this session, and a hearty good evening. Rob said, "Thank you very much," Seth. Seth said, "Put this session to work and see the difference in your lives." Rob said, "Good night."